I just want to take my knowledge, put it on paper, put it in layperson's terms so people can understand it if they read it and they understand what these kind of cases entail.
Today, we're going to talk to lawyer Steve Grover about a new book he's published, Beyond the Banana Peel. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Hi, Molly. How are you doing?
Doing great. Love the name of your new book. First of all, congratulations. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, this is the third book I've written now as a lawyer. First one was about motorcycle accidents, ride hard, ride safe. Then I do also trucking accidents across North America, primarily here in Alberta. That book was called Loader Up and Drive Safe. And then, premise liability claims are all over, unfortunately in Alberta, given our weather with the cold weather and the hot weather. And I've done a lot of slip and fall cases and other premise liability claims. So I thought, do a third book on premise liability claims and hopefully educate the public on what these claims are all about and what kind of access to justice they could get if they're injured in such type of claim.
So can you tell us a little bit more about who this book is really geared toward? Is it really for people who have been in some kind of an accident?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I'm not probably the smartest guy in the world, so I'm not the kind of lawyer that would be teaching at Harvard University Law School and writing a treatise about secured transactions. All my books have been pretty much geared to the general public to educate them of what these claims are all about. If they're unfortunately injured in like a premise liability claim, like a slip and fall, a trip and fall, a dog bite, what these injuries entail, and to know that they can access the court system here in Alberta to seek compensation and justice and keep these owners of offices or commercial businesses liable. If someone does slip and fall in front of a coffee store, what they could have done to avoid such that. So we're trying to also prevent these accidents from happening because they can be quite catastrophic and life-changing for someone.
Can you explain to us how you came up with this idea, why you decided to write this book, and how your experience really gave you the knowledge to move forward with it?
Well, unfortunately, my knowledge has come from firsthand experience of litigating these cases for over 20 years. They are complex cases. Unlike a motor vehicle accident or trucking accident, there is no police report entailed in having such claim. A lot of these cases depend really on the credibility of the client. If he or she was really injured in a slip and fall, have they documented their evidence, what their injuries are? They always say, the hardest cases to probably litigate are slip and falls. And, I just thought it would be good to open up another book on this area, a third book. It did take me 6 months to write with my publisher. And at the end of the day, I'm happy to have it here. I mean, there's obviously a copy of it. There's a lot of pain in writing the book. But I just want to take my knowledge, put it on paper, put it in layperson's terms so people can understand it if they read it and they understand what these kind of cases entail.
And Steve, do you think that the general public really truly understands these types of cases? And what about business owners?
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like Beyond the Banana Peel, I wasn't smart enough to come up with that title. It was actually my publisher's suggestion, and I thought it was quite cute to have because, on slip and falls and trip and falls or any kind of premise liability claims, the first thing that comes up is, we always see the cartoon of some guy walking down the street, he slips on a banana, he falls down, and everyone laughs. It's sort of like the old cartoon I grew up with, the Roadrunner and the Coyote. The coyote's always chasing after the roadrunner, and there's always, pitfalls or something falls on the coyote's head, and everyone laughs. They think it's funny, but at the end of the day, these cases are quite serious. Unfortunately, they do happen in our society. There's steps that owners can take to avoid these, and the last thing I want to see is someone in my office injured with a broken leg because the owner of a coffee store or grocery store did not take care of the ice and snow in front of their store. Obviously, our job as lawyers is to keep companies accountable. So, these accidents don't happen and make sure, people aren't injured like you and me in these unfortunate circumstances.
What do you think the biggest misconception is about these cases?
Well, the biggest misconception, unfortunately, in society is they're all a bunch of frauds, and it's just the way it's been conceived, and unfortunately, that happens in Canada and America, where the news does report that. You hear about the lady back in early 2000s who found a finger in her bowl of chili at Wendy's, and it turned out that it was not true. And at the end of the day, it did cost Wendy's, restaurants reputation. But unfortunately, there are some bad eggs out there that create these kind of misconceptions of cases that are not true. But at the end of the day, I want to have a reputable law firm. I want to represent people that are credible, who are really injured, who can back up their accident and injuries, and because it's also the reputation of our firm when we take on these cases. If the person is not truthful about the accident and it turns out that it's not true, it also affects our reputation in the court system, in the public. So at the end of the day, I think it's important for the public and business owners to understand that these are true injuries. And at our office, we do screen our clients thoroughly to make sure that there is a claim. We hire investigators to go out and look at the property and check the weather report and get pictures of their shoes and what were they drinking that night, and make sure they're just not out for quick money.
Yeah, and you've seen personally how credible some of these cases are, and especially with the injuries. So can you explain to us how people can get their hands on a copy of your book?
Well, anyone that wants to reach out to my office will gladly send anyone a free copy of my book. It is on Amazon, but if you want a free copy of it, just contact my office at Grover Law Firm here in Calgary. We'll gladly send you out one, or have one at the front reception desk to pick up. We're also going to download it as a PDF file onto our website at groverlawfirm.com. So I invite anyone who's just out of interest, if you want to learn about premise liability claims, because it's not just slip and falls, there's trip and falls, there's amusement park accidents, there's dog bites that are part of premise liability claim. It's a whole encompassing area, not just slip and falls. And it's pretty easy to read. I mean, you could probably get it done in 2 to 3 hours. Like I said, I'm not the kind of guy to write a legal treatise. I just want to educate the public in generally understanding that these cases are real. There's real people that are really injured. And, unfortunately, we've represented people that have lifelong injuries that will affect them for the rest of their life. And we just want to make sure that whoever causes these accidents are accountable, and also that our clients get justice and compensation so that they can take care of themselves for the rest of their lives, and, make sure that they can rebuild their lives and get on with their lives from an accident like this.
Well, Steve, congratulations again on your book, and thanks for taking the time to talk with us.
Great. Thank you for taking the time to interview me again. I hope you have a great week.
You too. And that's going to do it for this episode of Ask the Lawyer. My guest has been lawyer Steve Grover. If you want to ask him about your situation, you can call the number on the screen. Thanks for watching. I'm Molly Hendrickson for Ask the Lawyers.